There is a supernatural world that surrounds us, and sometimes it manifests to people like you and me. You'll hear stories about this, so much more, right here on Supernatural Confrontations. Hey folks, thanks for joining us. I'm your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli, coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the heart of the Santa Monica Mountains. I have two emails that crossed my desk. I think you'll find them interesting. We'll get into that and so much more, but first, a word from our trusted sponsor. If your New Year's resolution is about health or fitness, you're not alone. A recent study reveals 50% of Americans want to control their weight this year. That's why myself, along with thousands of people, are starting to use this magical supplement to help control our weight. Folks, I take it in the morning and then I take it in the evening. This supplement helps control appetite, manage excess weight, reduce fat, control cravings, and increase energy with unique science-backed ingredients formulated to reduce body weight, specifically belly fat. Boy, oh boy. You can experience the incredible benefits of a supplement at an exclusive 51% discount. Plus, get 5 free bonuses now by going to www.trimwithla.com. Once again, www.trimwithla.com. Folks, I take it every day, and I am seeing results. This is from Andrea. Hey, LA, my husband had an explosion a little north of Pensacola where he saw an orb, a jellyfish-looking craft with a hanging, sparkling element. He also experienced involuntary astral projection. On one occasion, he literally grabbed me on the couch. He was in order not to be taken. His name is Michael. We hope to hear back from you. God bless you and keep you under the shelter of his wings. Let's run through some of this. I've talked about this before. In Portugal, there is a site. It's called Cromic Almendres. We have filmed there. We released some of what we saw. But in particular, there is a carving of a jellyfish-like UFO on one of the menhirs, one of the standing stones that's at Cromic Almendres. What's really interesting about this, fast forward from, let's say, that site, by the way, is older than Stonehenge, England. So it's really ancient. We spent the entire day there. We flew the drone, lots of photographs. Francisco Correa was there, and we also interviewed some fascinating people. But Francisco told us of a story that happened decades ago. So Cromic Almendres here, a few miles away, is the town of Evora. And in Evora, there was a school. We went to the school, and obviously it was shut down, but the doors were still there, and we stood outside the building, and we filmed a little bit. I haven't released any of that, by the way. But the kids who were in that school, the students in the school, looked up and saw a jellyfish-like UFO. And this thing hovered in the sky for a long period of time. It just wasn't a flash and there it was and it was gone. It was there for a long period of time. And what I find interesting is, again, Evora is here and Cromic Almendres is just a few miles away. Is it the same craft? Is it the same entity that's visiting that particular area? So as far as being taken, astral projection, there's, in my opinion, there's a door open somewhere. They are interested in you. Prayers to the Lord, prayers to Jesus will stop them. Read Karen Wilkins' book, Stolen Seed, Evil Harvest. She was an abductee and she broke the connection there by calling on the name of the Lord. So that's what's going on. Yeah, it's, people know. Let me close this one email by saying this. People know when they're about to be taken. They know. They know when they're around. I mean, I've talked to too many abductees in my decades of research who report this. There's a feeling that overcomes them. Al Matthews in our very first film on the whole UFO series talks about this. And Al says, very specifically on the record that he was driving home from work and he knew he was about to be switched off. He could feel it. He could feel the sensation. Sure enough, he wakes up 3 hours later, 120 miles away from where he was last awake, driving the car. The car is in this brilliant beam of white light and is floating down like this to the road. The car hits the road. It starts by itself and drives by itself until Al has the presence of mind to grab the wheel. He was violated. He was raped, essentially. And he also soiled himself. That's what happens. These are not, I can't say this enough. These are not the benevolent, Arcturians from some other planet. And I use that word deliberately because, we had Vivian Chauvet here a while back. We got a lot of feedback, most of it very positive, some of it like, whoa, LA, why did you do that? And our mission statement is to expose the deception of the prince of the power of the air. So bringing Vivian on, and we were very fair, and she has the right to believe what she wants to believe. But we also have the right to challenge that belief and ask her cordially, which is what I did, what about Jesus? He's not Sananda. So go back and look at that because I think you'll find it interesting. It's on this YouTube channel about 2 weeks ago. This is from James. Hello, LA. I live in England on the Yorkshire coast, which is known for being an area of high strangeness. Lots of sightings of UFOs, orbs, werewolves, big cats, etc. I was skeptical until I saw a white yellow orb one morning between 5:30 and 6 a.m. last year while I was driving to a meeting. I was on a country road and it was dark because there were no street lights. And ahead of me in the sky, I saw a white yellow orb, which at first I thought was the nose light of an airplane. I've seen that. That was one of the UFOs. Let me just stop right there. That my wife Peggy and I saw. We were driving back from Spruzzo's, an Italian restaurant right on Pacific Coast Highway. Peggy's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. And she goes, wow, what's that? And I go, where? And she goes, there. And it looked like a plane coming in. This is in our very first Watchers film, a dramatization, and my testimony about that. From that encounter came the admonition of the Lord, rebuke first, ask questions later. Because that light sat in the sky like this, and then there was, let me get a prop here. So here's the light sitting in the sky. All of a sudden above it is another orb light, and it floats down into the bigger light, and this bigger light expands into concentric rings and disappears. Then all of a sudden, maybe a minute or two later, bam, the light's back, and we pull over, and we watch exactly the same thing happen again. So that night, the Lord woke me up at like 2 or 3 in the morning and said, what are you doing? And that's where the whole phrase of rebuke first, ask questions later. So I've been there, done that with the nose of light of an airplane. Then I remember, this is when James continuing, but then I remember there were no airports nearby, and my light was gradually descending to my right, and it was very low. I stopped the car and got out, thinking it could be a drone. But there was no sound, and my light continued to descend, still the same shape, and then stopped over a valley behind me to the right, and did not appear to move. I don't know why. The first thought that came to my head was cattle mutilations. I got in my car and drove off very quickly. I didn't tell anyone for quite a while. There was a local researcher called Paul Sinclair, has a website, Truth Proof, and he encourages people to contact him with sightings. And then she continues, many thanks for all your hard work and dedication. And she goes on from there. And thank you for writing, and thank you for the kind words. Later on in the week, we are going to feature a friend of ours who's been on the show before, Mike Hamilton. And Mike's got a very large ranch in West Texas. And recently there was a mutilation, not on his ranch, but on a neighbor's. He sent me numerous pictures of the mutilation. And we'll be bringing Mike on later in the week, and we'll show you the pictures and what they discovered at this mutilation. Folks, the phenomenon is real, and we can pretend it doesn't exist. We can say things like, well, that's too fringe for me. Really? Really? It's happening right under our noses. It's not fringe at all. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for checking us out. And I will be, where will I be this week? I will be at the Prophecy Watchers Conference in Orlando. It's completely sold out, but you can get streaming. So go to the prophecywatchers.com, and check it out. Don't forget our 2 films on Roswell, or the 8 films in our UFO series. Folks, we've done the deep dive, my business partner Gil Zimmerman and myself. Streaming.lamarzulli.net, streaming.lamarzulli.net, and you can avail yourself of what I believe is important information. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, folks, the supernatural world is real, and sometimes it manifests to people like you and me. We'll get into that and so much more, but first, a word from our trusted sponsor.